can't watch Twitch today for some reason.
Hey everybody, we're still getting things going here. If you're in game, you can meet at the Europa Inn. We're going to be doing a Catacombs raid. So anybody who's interested in joining us, just meet us here. Bunch of people here already. So yeah, we'll see you soon. Hang on just a minute. Hey everybody, welcome to our MMORPG.com Twitch takeover. We've done this before and it's always been fun, so we'd love to get a chance to show you guys the game. Where are we and what is this? This is Shards Online, heavily inspired by Ultima Online. It's an MMO, it's a moddable MMO. Players can run their own servers. We're on the official server. So Shards Online is a complete game, right? Like when you get in, you jump on an official server, it's got everything you'd expect from a complete online role-playing game. What is extra is the modding. So players can run their own servers, mod their own servers, and it is a very open-ended, sandboxy, fun game where the development is very much focused on creating a world, make objects interactable, allow you to interact with objects, and then kind of set you free in that world and see what happens. It's much less theme parky or linear than a lot of the other newer MMOs that have come out. So what we're going to do today, actually let me just introduce some of the people we have on the stream. So I'm Derek, aka Supreme Brinkman, the project lead, and also the founder of Citadel Studios, along with Tim Draconi Cotton, the former lead designer on UO. I was the former lead programmer. Yeah, so I've been working on this since our Kickstarter was 2 years ago. So the goal at Kickstarter was to deliver an alpha, and this is the alpha that we came to deliver. And so basically the big milestone here is that we have just about delivered on everything we promised for Kickstarter with regards to our alpha. Yeah, so we're all excited about it, and there's tons of people in game playing. We're going to give away keys. We're going to raid the Catacombs dungeon. We're going to talk about the game, talk about design concepts, take questions, all that stuff. With me is Jeffrey. Jeffrey, say hi.
Hello.
Who are you?
Who am I?
Mm-hmm.
I'm Jeffrey. I'm, if you are in Shards of the Line right now, you probably see me on the screen. I'm a Mython or Mython. Yeah, I'm a producer on Shards of the Line. I've been here about... How long have I been here? About half a year to a year.
Thank God for that.
Can you still hear me?
Yep.
Oh, sorry, my thing went weird. Yes, I've been here for about half a year to a year. What do? I do community management, I do some design, I do all sorts really. Whatever Supreme needs doing.
I hired you as a community manager. Turns out you're a kick-ass game designer, so that's where we ended up. So, yep.
That's who I am.
Hey, yep. I think we have Cade with us too. Cade, you there? He's in the background. Hey. Cade's one of our programmers, responsible for lots of awesome things. So,
try my best.
Okay, is this like a spiritual successor to Ultima Online? I would like to say this is a game heavily inspired by Ultima Online. I would never attempt to claim the mantle of UO2. That's Richard Garriott's territory. He's the only one that could honestly say that. But because I was a lead designer on UO for such a long time, and Draconi was a designer, did I say designer? I was a lead programmer for such a long time, and Draconi being the lead designer for so long, this game is heavily inspired by Ultima Online. You'll definitely get that feel when you play it. How much is this game? Our game is not officially for sale. What it is a crowdfunded project. So what that means is you can pledge your support to the project at any time. When you pledge support, you get instant access to the game, and you will also get your Steam key when the game comes out. As you go up in pledge levels, there's cool rewards, and when you get to 200, you can actually run and mod your own server. We'll get into all that stuff throughout the stream probably, but that's kind of the gist of it. So yeah, so you're pledging to support the project. You get access. You get in. The servers run 24/7. We do very little wipes, and actually the next wipe is not until Steam. And so yeah, that's where we're at. Bunch of people gathering here outside the inn in one of our main game maps, and we're going to head over to the Catacombs, which is the end game dungeon, and we're going to try to raid it. I see a lot of newbies here, so I'm not sure how well this is going to go. Should be interesting. Basically, us gods are going to open the portal, and then we're going to hide ourselves and just watch. So that's pretty much what's going to happen here. I'll talk a little about the player hosting server stuff soon. Let's get this raid underway. I think the best thing to do, would be to actually walk over to the graveyard and open it. How's that sound?
Someone wants to know if you host your own player servers. Yeah, you you get the binary and actually host it on your own machine. And it's just Windows as of now, but hopefully Linux soon.
Sorry, Derek. Open. Oh, the catacombs.
Yep. Let's go.
Yeah,
there.
let's just open it. I can probably just drop someone the required entry materials.
Or one of us could put it down.
Yeah. What, we're gonna lead a
Follow
train?
the yellow guy. We'll go out to the gate here and.
Size of that bear that's coming with us.
Will there be a full wipe? So the official stance is right now we have to do an item wipe for Steam for a variety of reasons, and that's coming in the spring. The skills, player skills, we may allow players to keep their skills. There's still the decision on that is still open. That's where we're at with that. We really would like to let people keep their skills so that they don't have to start from scratch. So. Khalid, what an awesome name. Totally get that name. Miss that game. Before we go into the dungeon, do you want to give away some keys, Mr. Myfun?
I can indeed. Let me just get to the gate.
Sure thing.
Oh, I don't appear to have the Oh, I might.
It's kind of funny, this skeleton, as people walk by, he's like getting ready to swing at somebody, and then they get out of range and he picks somebody else, and then that guy goes in a range.
Spoiled.
He's like, who should I hit? There's so many people. Dude, we should kill a spider boss real fast before we go in. Have we killed her since we did this? Well, everybody's already going this way.
Let me...
Just gonna watch you all die and eat my dinner. Are the keys only for the weekend? They are trial keys that last 7 days. So you'll be able to get them for 7 days. If you choose to pledge and upgrade your account to a full account, you do not lose your characters. So any time spent during those 7 days will not be lost.
Where are these keys at? Here they are.
Fox said, UO was a staple of my childhood. Thanks for the work you guys did. So I cannot claim to create Ultima Online. I was not there from the beginning. I joined before we did the Stygian Abyss expansion. So I was the lead programmer for Stygian Abyss and the lead programmer for High Seas. So those were the two main expansions that I can claim proud ownership, but at least I was a big part of making them happen. So... Alrighty, who's got bones? I know somebody here has got bones. So to open this portal, it opens in 2 stages. First, you need to put 10 bones down on the portal. I'm sure somebody's got them. If not, I'll do it. But make them at least open half the portal, or open it halfway. Can I get a key? Jeffrey's in the process of setting up a giveaway on the channel here. So we got Mr. Moobot going. The keys are coming. How's the sound levels, guys? Everything sound good for you over here? Voice, the video, the game sound?
It's coming through good for me.
Haha. No one's got bones. Alright, I'll make the darn bones. Oops. I always forget about that. You can't just do... Alright, let me find it here. I always forget the name of that item. I know exactly what it is. Here it is. Alright, so the first stage of the portal has been activated. And then we need the skulls. Want me to make them, Jeffrey?
Yeah, go for it. I'm just setting
So
up this,
the second stage of the portal activation is the skulls that are acquired from the bosses of the 3 world dungeons. So there's 3 world dungeons. We got Contempt, Pestilence, and Deception. At each one of those dungeons, there is a boss at the end, and they drop a skull, and I am going to just create them so we can get into Catacombs. So there's the Contempt skull, there's a Deception skull, and a Pestilence skull. Boom! The portal is open. Go, go, go. Thank you, Fox. If I win a key, could I activate them after the weekend? Yes, you can. The key can be activated anytime before we hit Steam. It is an alpha key, so it'll last as long as alpha does. Alright, so at this point, I'm going to just set my size really small and just kind of follow everybody. There we go. That looks kind of funny. Just see my name moving around. Oh, there, my name's gone. Good. So I'm going to kind of just spectate here. This is the hub of the portal of the Catacombs. So Catacombs is its own world. It's not just a dungeon. These people that live here were outcasts. They were sent here because they were being persecuted by their people that they lived with that weren't so happy about them. I'm bad at explaining stuff. Basically, there's a race of gods called the Strangers. They are the ones that create the portals between worlds. These guys pray to the Strangers, and so they were being persecuted for praying to the Strangers. The Strangers opened a portal to this world, and they all moved here to save their hides. And then, and what they didn't know when they got here was that there's another god named Ko. He's the god of the void. He was created by Lily and Eve, who were the creator gods. And he kind of uses the bottom levels of this dungeon as his barracks for his army. And so the wayward have a very tough life here because the food doesn't grow on the upper levels, it grows down there. So I know I'm bad at that stuff, but it's the basic idea.
I definitely didn't just delete that bindstone.
Should I just teleport everybody down?
Yeah, a lot of people don't have a quest to get down, so let's just
I'll do it. Boom.
Can you include the god Kek?
It's a great command. I wonder if I can use the RTS camera. I never really tried using it here. Oh, it doesn't look as cool because you got a blue background. This is like a god view, this RTS camera. It's going to have a nice little god interface for GMs to do like live events and stuff. They can drop down traps and spawn monsters on people and things. That's what this is. But it doesn't look so good yet, so. How do I toggle names? Okay. I have too much health, cheater. Yeah. There's some certain perks that come along with being a god. I'm gonna turn the game sound down a little bit. So by default, all names are off, but you can hit H to toggle on the all names option. Once it's on, then you can use insert to flip through the different filters. So I'm using the player's NPCs filter, which is that one. Because I don't need my own name.
Alright guys, first key's coming out. Who's it gonna be? Black Ghost X.
I guess the more experienced players know exactly where to go. This dungeon has a bunch of portals all over the place. You take the wrong one, it can send you back to the beginning. So you really got to learn the dungeon before you otherwise you get sent back to the beginning. It's a little crowded in this hallway. The first level of the Catacombs, the one we're in right now, is really intended for smaller groups. It's just a means to get to level 2. Level 2 is where the real raid mobs are. They're a lot tougher. So things are going to get hard. Right now it's a little easy. Jeffrey, would you say this is the most people we've had in Catacombs in one raid?
It very well. Oh wow, it could be. I remember, was it pre-alpha? We had quite a big go at it, but it was considerably easier that time. So
Turn off my UI.
I'd say for like a mob difficulty per player, this is definitely the biggest we've had.
And Eggsy said the sheer number of people is making this look way easier than it is. Yeah, you come down here with a small group and it is not that easy. Somebody got knocked out, so I teleported back in. We can take some questions too, since us gods are not actively playing. We're more than happy to answer some questions if you guys have any. Wow. Lots of people. We'll do some more giveaways, Mr. Ellen. Can you, Myphon and Cade, grab people when you see them fall out?
Yeah, I'm keeping an eye. Is anyone?
CDT fell out.
I was already on it.
Okay. You just do /TP in their name.
It's going to be buy to play, Mecha Shiva. Mecha Shiva? Mecha Shiva.
Yeah, so there's no subscription. It's a subscription-free MMO. So that question there's a different answer for what's currently in the game now and what the final Steam release will have. So I'll quickly answer what we have now. So there are areas of the world where there are no guards, and so PvP is completely unrestricted. And there are bosses in that area of the map where you may end up, getting into a little bit of a PvP skirmish over the boss. But that's just now. The final game, the area of the world that's protected by guards is only a percentage of the whole larger world. And so there will be lots of things going on in the outside of the guards' realms for that sort of incentive for PvP type stuff. Is that a good answer, Myphon?
Yeah.
Feel free to elaborate.
Yeah, it's basically it's built around the same. It's built around the premise of risk and reward. So the closest thing, I mean, what we have now is a lot less sophisticated from what it's going to be. But it's going to be the closest thing you can relate it to is EVE Online. You can the idea will be you can perfectly exist in one place and be quite safe, relatively safe most of the time. But the real rewards, the real treasures, and the real payoff is going to be in places which, the equivalent of nullsec, if you like. It's going to be where PvP is happening quite a lot, and there's quite a high risk attached. We have that in some degree now with the Outlands. I mean, there's higher resources in the Outlands. There's going to be higher rewards for doing certain activities there.
So let's see. The next question we got, man, there's a lot.
About professions and skill cap.
Sure, I can do this one. So it is very much like UO with a magic number. But we break it up into categories. I'm way over cap because I'm a god, but you can see there's 3 skill categories. You have combat, combat support, and trade. So your total is 800. 400 of that is combat skills. 200 is combat support, which are your regen skills and your rogue skill. And trade makes up the last 200 points in your cap. And so basically what that means is you can take 4 primary skills, 4 primary combat skills, and then 2 of these. So either you take 2 regen skills or you take rogue and 1 of the regen skills. And then you get 2 trade skills, generally 1 harvesting and 1 crafting. Myphon, will there be true black dye tubs?
I don't know. We'll have to see. I know, but some true black stuff drops on some mobs. But yeah, we could have a true black. I don't know. It's one of those. I anticipate we will have one.
The way our dye system works is the more dye you apply, the deeper that color you get. So it starts out light, and you just keep applying dyes, and it'll get darker and darker. I think you can mix and match dyes too.
Yeah, just to clarify to everybody, when you're putting yourself in the raffle here for these trial keys, you only have to type giveaway once. Okay, well here we go, another key.
Next question, will there be in-game purchases? We currently have no plans for that. Doesn't mean it won't change. We can promise that we'll never sell stuff that will affect game play. It'll be vanity type items, but there's no plans for it right now. It might be something that comes after Steam. Next question, is PvP full loot drop and death penalties? Another question where we can answer kind of now and what's coming. So right now, when you die, you only drop the stuff in your pack. I might have to drop the sound even lower. Hold on a second, guys. Alright. It's like a sweet spot with the sound volume, it seems like. Now it's too low.
When is the Steam lunch? It's making me hungry.
Yeah, that's weird. My sound in the game just like went way down. Oh, it's because I'm like... Oh, I don't know. Okay. So, PvP full loot. So you drop your gear that you're carrying, but you do not drop the items in your that you have equipped. That's mainly because we don't have enough areas of the game that are safe for PvEers. So we don't want PvEers quitting because they lose their gear. We are talking about changing that for the larger map. And this kind of ties into the other question. Somebody said they don't like the PvP. If you're familiar with the way EVE does it, there's a very large area in EVE that is 100% protected by, in that game called the Concord, in our game, the Guards of the Guardians of the Order. So that area of the world is completely safe, and you don't have to be worried about getting ganked there if you don't want to. And that will make up a really large percentage of the main game map and a good percentage of the actual content. So if you never want to fight another player, you can stay in that area and completely live there and never leave the guard protected area of the world. And there's going to be plenty of things to do there, including dungeons, including boss fights and guild town areas and stuff like that. So there's plenty of... We are not going to make a game where you PvP as part of the game, whether you like it or not. As you venture away from that area that's protected by the Guardians of the Order, there will be other areas of the game. Sorry, stop following people when I'm talking. There will be this kind of middle area of the game where there are guard towers. There are guard towers, but there are not actually insta-guards, right? So if you're in that like safe zone and someone attacks you, guards just pop out of nowhere and kill you. In that middle area, there is a guard towers kind of sprinkled around. So if you get attacked by a player in that area, you can run to one of those guard towers and get protected. So it's kind of like a semi-safe zone. Then as you get further and further away, the guards start to be gone, right? There's no guards anymore, and you have to protect yourself. And so that's the like unrestricted PvP area of the game. And if you don't want to go there, you never have to go there.
Lots more questions. Steam launch. Steam launch is in the spring.
Yeah, it's kind of like when you order a TV and they give you a delivery window of like 12 to 5 p.m. and then it comes at 6. Kidding. Sometime in the spring is our current Steam launch window.
Necromancy seems to be a high-level skill. What are the other high-level skills that are planned?
I think Rogue is probably a pretty advanced skill.
It is, and I know that one of our designers, Logris, has got loads of ideas for very, very cool sounding skills, which I assume will also be. I kind of think of them as, when you think of like Rogue and you think of Necromancy, you can't. They're almost kind of like prestige skills. Like, you can't train from day one with them, but they are accessible to you later on.
Can you grab the Void Guardian? Somehow he got outside the wall, Jeffrey.
Oh.
So I'll just put the disclaimer out there. This game is in alpha, right? It's not released. It's an early access game. And so there are bugs, like the Void Guardian running outside the walls of the dungeon. All we gotta do is teleport him. Oh, let me get him real quick.
I got him. Where's Merlin? I'm going to teleport him right on top of him.
There he is. Okay. Where were we? Were we in the middle of a question, or were we to finish?
We were talking about the high difficulty skills.
Yes, yes. So I would say Rogue, Necromancy, and you, like you said, Bruce has some more, aka Logris has some more coming.
Yeah, but there was definitely one called Ranger, and then he also said that he had plans for bards as well.
Yeah, Ranger is like the anti-stealther skill.
Yeah.
Okay. What if all you want to do is PvP and loot? Yeah, again, it's a lot like Eve. You could completely live in that area of the world that's completely unprotected by guards. I mean, there will be little outposts there, so you can still bank and things like that without ever going into the Guardians of the Order section of the game. Will there be Necromancy updates before Steam, Mr. Jeffrey?
There will be, yes. We tried to, basically. I think what happened with Necromancy was, it was my task to look at Necromancy and see what we could do with it. And currently, how it was implemented, it seemed too much to be like to bring it up to speed quickly would have made it too much like almost just like a sister skill of manifestation. And I don't like, to me, I don't think that's what it should be. I think it should be a skill unto itself, and it should be very unique in what it does. And it should be, if we're going to have these prestige skills which are going to exist for advanced players, it should do some really interesting things. So we put it off a little bit to get into alpha, and then between now and Steam, I'm sure we can make it something really exciting, because it's something that it's quite difficult to come by, which is a good thing. So I think we just need to make it a little bit more fun.
For sure. All right, the next question is, it's always good to have that balance. Speaking of EVE Online, will there be perhaps a way of insuring gear for a cost? Not in the cards. Not for you.
No.
Who knows? You know, as the game advances and progresses, you know, EVE or UO did things like allow you to have one blessed item that you can't drop. You know, those kinds of things come in response to, you know, player demands and the things that come up as a result of design. So I won't say no, it'll never happen, but it's just not something that we're planning. Can someone port QOO to you? Oops, that was a long time ago. Oh, we got him. Okay, he's here. What is the radius of the guard towers? So they are not like guaranteed protection. Like you'll have to be visible to a guard. I think the guards have like a 20 tile radius. Each tile is 3 feet. So is that 60 feet? If you come within 60 feet of a guard and you're being attacked by somebody, you will be protected.
Level 2 time.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to give away another key. If anybody hasn't already, to get yourself in the list for the raffle, you need to type a !! giveaway. And by doing that example, I now just entered myself to get a key. So I hope
Oh, here's a really good question. Has Rob Denton been involved with Shards, and how has he helped you guys? And so, for those of you who don't know, Rob Denton is one of the founders of Mythic Entertainment. He created Dark Age of Camelot along with Mr. Mark Jacobs. And he is an advisor. So when I worked at EA, I worked under him. He was like my boss's boss. And And so he has been helping us in an advisory role. So I pretty much have his number. I can call him up whenever I need advice. And also, I grab lunch with him pretty regularly, and we talk about the game. And every single one of those lunches is like amazing. I get so much useful information out of his brain. It's wonderful. Another one of our advisors is Eugene Evans. Eugene has been in the game industry so long, and he's like a marketing genius. So we tap his brain as well on a regular basis. Why are monsters floating in the black area? That would be an alpha bug. In the hundreds of kills I've done on Cerberus, that has never happened. Oh. Is there a resist spells skill? No.
There is not. One from a UO player's perspective, instead of resisting spells, is one of those skills which was basically just a stopgap for people. Like, if you wanted to PvP, you needed that skill. I mean, you could get away not having it, but what we've done in Shards is armor, like metal armors, the strength of your armor actually works in defense against magic. So we've plugged that into the actual choice of the equipment that you wear, as opposed to just having a skill you have to have.
Is this a group-centric game, or are you intended to solo to max then group? It's both.
Yeah, it's both. I mean,
There's no real answer. It's definitive.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like, how do you really put it? I mean,
I can tell you my experience. In my experience, this game is 100 times more fun when you engage in social interactions.
Oh sure, yeah.
You could be a loner and never talk to or group with a single player, and you'd be able to go through the entire game.
Well, from a literal coding perspective and balance perspective, most of the mobs in the game you can solo once you're trained. So it's similar in a sense, but you can go into a dungeon and you could probably do most of it on your own. But
maybe not
yeah.
level 2 of Catacombs.
No, certainly not. So I guess compared to other kind of compared to UO or games like that, those games didn't have really any raid content early on in their days. I'm fairly sure they do now. So I guess the goal is to have both. Like you can. I guess it kind of works. Sorry, go ahead.
I'd have to say that one of my biggest gripes with modern MMOs is the whole, like, it's really difficult to group with people because it's like, oh, we're not on the same quest, or I already did that quest. There's no point in grouping with you, kind of thing. You'll find very often in our game. Okay, here's a perfect example. This is an end game content, right? This is the hardest dungeon we have in the game, and there's newbies running around here. They might be dying, but they're able to partake in the content that's taking place. They don't. Have to.
They're gaining skill. They're getting a share of loot. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep, and you could just sit back and heal. If you never swing at one of these mobs, you might go through this whole dungeon and never even get hit once. Chances are that's not going to happen. But
yeah, I mean the other bonus, I guess, is if you take like World of Warcraft, you had boosting, right? The way that like use-based skill systems work, and they have got like the skills have got difficulty checks when determining if you get a skill gain based on what you're doing and what you're trying to use it on, or what you're trying to hit. I mean, you can't really boost anybody. So having both new players able to play with advanced players, but no breaking of balance, makes it. Use-based skill, but like use-based skill systems are just the best.
For sure. Man, we're getting some really good questions. I like you guys. Map design-wise, is there a crossroads-like area like there was in UO west of Britain? Jeffrey.
Map design-wise, is there a crossroads area like there was in UO west of Britain? Oh, the crossroads. Why was the crossroads? Did you mean it in a PvP sense? Because I remember like Britain crossroads were infamous because loads of Reds lived there, but I still to this day don't know why. I think it was just one of those. I think it was just a critical mass thing.
Interesting.
it just like it's one of the things you get with player housing, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you have a game with free player housing, you get to create these kind of virtual areas which never existed before. Like,
I'm trying to figure out why my game volume is so low. It's just really weird.
yeah, if you want me to elaborate, Fox Tango, just let me know what you mean by the crossroads.
Let's see here.
You can turn the names off too, by the way. Somebody said they couldn't see what was going on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, we could maybe turn them off for a bit and see if that makes
Sure.
it much clearer for people.
I'll have to be more active in highlighting people so people can tell who's doing what, but we'll give that a try. Are we? Go ahead.
What?
Are we scared about the Steam launch? That's a question.
Scared's the wrong word.
So I've worked in the game industry for years, and launches were always terrifying because there were forces outside of the development team that would push us to launch it before we thought it was ready. I have the pleasure of being in charge of our schedule, and so I have, to this day, been able to only launch and do releases when I feel we're ready, and it's a wonderful feeling. And so I'm much less scared about this Steam release than I would be about launching an expansion for Ultima Online, because at EA you have some guy going, this needs to go out next month whether it's ready or not. So
That's kind of what adds some fear, though, for me, is it might not be perfect enough. I want to get it just, absolutely perfect.
yeah.
It's like, hey, this rabbit's got the wrong HP. It's like, push it.
Do you guys like it better without the names? Tell me in chat if you like it better without player names.
I guess it looks better, but I mean,
I can also do this and just like, hey, there's everybody. You hold the E key.
It makes me nervous from a player perspective, because I've no idea what's going on.
When you're playing the game, you really need to know who's who. But maybe when you're watching, it's not quite as important.
I play with full names and full HP bars. So
Do you really?
that's all I see.
So Warp Soul the Crusher is a mini boss, isn't he?
Yeah.
He drop anything interesting?
Should do.
He's got a silver longsword. It's not very good. He's got... So his gear is not very good. I'm going to open his container and see what he's got inside.
Yeah, he should probably... I think he goes off a boss.
Oh, there he goes.
Oh, yeah.
What do he drop? Some really rare or hard to get crafting resources.
Nothing.
Okay. I'm like scrolled way up because there's so many questions. Let's do these questions. All right, so can we talk about the new animal taming and beast mastery? It's very unique to other MMOs. I wish Logros was here. He's the lead designer for that part of the game. He's our combat and taming designer, among other things. Basically, you don't summon creatures in this game. Well, you can. Necromancers can. But tamers just tame actual things they find in the world. Those things can die. You have to use a resurrection spell or bandages to bring them back to life. Those pets can be lost if you don't res them. He's gone. And he also trains with you, so the more you use him, the more his skills go up, and he gets better and more powerful along with you. I will admit that in this alpha build, taming still has a ways to go. It works, and it's fun. But we have it's one of the skills that we need to focus on post-alpha. So, full disclosure. Did you want to add anything there, Jeffrey?
No, not really. I guess one of the reasons why it's still not ready right now isn't because, like I've had a lot of people say to me, like, taming has worked in past games. Why didn't you just use that taming? It'd work fine now. And the reason is that I think we all kind of want it to be more, right? Because in older games, like you tame a dragon, you have a dragon, and all of a sudden you've become very, very, very powerful for having that dragon. Whereas we're kind of taking more of the approach, like of more like of a pet development system.
Starting to see our first dead players.
Yeah, it's always this room.
So when you die in Shards Online, you turn into a ghost. People can res you from your ghost or from your body. and you can also resurrect at a shrine. There's some resurrection shrines on the map. And the last resort would be to Death will eventually show up, and you can talk to him, and he'll bring you back to life for a price, aka a debuff.
What are we up to now? I noticed when playing UO that it was like Hoarders. Hoarders?
Maybe the TV show Hoarders, where people just...
Oh! What's the next question? Are these graphics final?
Koi, we didn't mean to skip over your question. Maybe you could ask, clarify a little bit. I'm guessing you're just asking do people just hoard gear because they don't lose it? Gear still gets destroyed, so it has durability on it, and it gets damaged, and it will get destroyed. So you will still need to get new gear when your gear gets destroyed. And also, the not having full loot may be temporary. When we release the default game, may have full loot on. If we can get the PvP, PvE balance just right, I see we might be able to do the full loot. Our gear is definitely designed to allow for full loot. If we need it.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
And there's no stopping a player server from turning it on. It's just a server option. You just say full loot equals true, and you have a full loot server. Half Mystic says, "Hooray, I've been waiting for this stream." Heck yeah. Are these graphics final? If you're asking if it'll ever be an over-the-shoulder 3D game, the answer is no. Shards Online will always be a top-down game, aside from the fact that we do have full rotation and zoom. But our graphics are always improving. If you could go back and watch a video from Pre-Alpha 3, watch a video from Pre-Alpha 2, watch a video from Pre-Alpha 1, you'll see amazing strides in graphics. Now, how different will this game be from here to Steam? I think it'll probably look fairly similar. We'll probably have some more particle effects, the environment will be prettier, and hopefully we'll have some optimizations in to get the frame rate up for some people on laptops and stuff. Right now, if you have a modern graphics card, you should get nice, smooth frame rate. It's the integrated onboard cards on laptops that just get wrecked by this game. So... NYC Playboy wants to know if there will be any content in a PvP area that you can't get to as a PvE player. I think that the answer is probably yes, there will still be some content that's in a PvP area. You can't get away from it because you do want to encourage people to take risks from time to time. Now, it doesn't mean that a player server, you go to server list, there could be a player-run server that says PvE only, PvP is turned off. And so, that'd be great. I would love to see that, especially when we launch on Steam and anybody can run a server. I could definitely see servers like that popping up. For our default rules, there may be some, like champ spawn type stuff, bosses that may only exist in the PvP areas. So...
yeah, but don't see it as I have to go and PvP. Like, if there's an item in a certain place which is PvP enabled, don't see it as I have to PvP or put myself at risk of PvP to obtain this item, because you don't. It's the only example I can think of. The EVE Online auction system is an example. I mean, you can buy anything in EVE from a safe system. It just costs more. And it was the same in, say, what did you have? Champion scrolls and champion spawns. Like, you didn't have to go to Felucca to obtain a champion scroll. You could, you could sit in Trammel and kill things until you had enough money to buy them. So you're not going to be denied any material items which come from high security. Which come from high PvP areas. It's just the goal is to coerce people who don't necessarily like PvP into areas where they can take the risk, like a measured risk. I mean, no, but there's a chance that they might die, but it's exciting, right? So you get a chance to get these items for taking the risk, or you can work at them and get them another way.
Yep, perfect. The other thing that I will mention, now this is big picture stuff, okay? I'm talking in design, high-level concepts. We plan for guilds to be able to hire their own guards. And so what that means is that guilds can make semi-safe areas for their players to adventure in while still being in a PvP zone. Like I said, high-level stuff, it probably won't make it into Steam, but it's something that we do plan for this game, is to allow guilds to have their own guards.
Which will be awesome. Got a question about the drawbacks of a use-based skill gain system, as it can lead to macroing and botting. What are we going to do to disincentivize macroing and botting?
I'll start, and then you can follow up.
Okay.
Alright, for one, the skills is not the be-all and end-all of this game. Because of the caps, you will play this game for 3 to 6 months and be at 6 times GM, or whatever your template that you're going for is. So I don't think... Let's say we never did anything about macroing, and we just let people macro all the way up to 100 in each skill. It would not break the game. It would not ruin the game. I'm not saying we're going to do that. We're not going to do that. We're going to put in some anti-macroing measures. We're going to officially say that AFK macroing is not allowed. If you're there and a GM, contacts you and you answer right away, we're not going to do anything about it. But there's also the design solution, which is making the game fun. You need to reward people for engaging in the content over sitting in their house and casting spells on themselves. And so that's, Jeffrey, where you can probably pick up.
Yeah, it is a true statement that when you have a use-based skill system, people will try and game it. And it's probably also true to say that you can't stop people gaming it, to some degree. You can. I think the trick is making it sufficiently difficult, so that you've got two types of game, right? You've got one game where a player logs in and says, "How do I raise manifestation?" And everyone says you get regents, go to a dungeon and kill things, and that's what they do. And if you haven't tackled that problem appropriately, these players will log in and say, "How do I raise manifestation?" And absolutely everybody says, "Oh, just do this thing 100 times and you'll be fine." So we're going to put the steps in to make sure that the access to actually being able to automate anything, will make it extremely difficult. And the other thing is, like Supreme said, it's in a game in a skill-based game like Ultima or like something else, a player could take 6 months to level up his skills, whilst there were players, GMing their skills in a matter of weeks. But it's how you play the game. For many people, most macroers do so for PvP purposes. It's people who want to level up in PvP, and we'll always have those people. So. Yeah, I guess if you played MMOs around the time of like the late 90s, early thousands, you had people who used to game the system, but at the same time you had active GMs who would put those people in jail, and you kind of had players were coerced into playing the game properly. And yeah, it didn't break anything, and it's a very playable system. It's just one you have to stay on top of.
Yeah, I think that. There are people out there that'll go that you can't have a good, fun, skill-based game because macros will ruin it. And I don't believe that at all. I believe, sure, there may be macroing, but it's not going to stop you from having a fun game experience. Yeah,
absolutely. If someone managed to find a way to game a WoW character to 60 in like a week, and then was in Stranglethorn Vale every day, killing everyone, I mean, that's a sign of those things not working, right? But, I mean, you can speak to a lot of Ultima Online players who would tell you that if they had to play a character under 100 skill, they think the game starts at 100 skill. So it's not it's what you do in the game. It's not how trained you are.
For sure.
But that's not to say we're not going to go easy on macros. We're not going to go easy on them at all.
So there was a quest in Neverwinter Nights, not the game, Neverwinter Nights Online, the MMO, that was repeatable. And it was working for days, and so many people got to max level. It was unreal. And hey, it didn't kill Neverwinter Nights, and that was a level-based game.
Yeah, I was going to say that sounds kind of disastrous if you're a level-based game, but
it was absolutely terrible for them. Anyways, all right, where are we, sir? Can you turn off names and numbers? Oh yeah, we got that. You know what I wish UO would change? Bosses and mobs didn't drop actual vanks, which are vanquishing weapons.
Yeah.
and the magic items. They drop parts of the items for crafters to craft.
Did they?
No,
Oh,
he's
did
wishing
they?
that it did that instead.
Oh, okay. No, I hear them.
Good. I
Oh
was
no,
going to
no.
say that we do, to a degree, have some of that because there are crafting ingredients for like bone armor and stuff that are kind of like optional suits that look cool, that are like variants of the main type that are dropped. So we do have some of that.
Yeah, we do. I mean, in this alpha build right now, we added some drops to the game, which in some ways are the equivalent of ruin, might, power, force, vanquishing, but not in the sense that. I mean, if we're talking in the terms of old duo, in old duo, a crafter couldn't make anything anywhere near a vanquishing weapon. I think the equivalent of an exceptionally. I think that the best thing a player could craft in UO in those days was might or force. So it was, the mob gear was highly superior. The equivalent of our vanquishing weapons, if you want to call them that, our ethereal weapons, are as good as the highest tier a crafter can craft, but crafters can improve their items over that level. So we want to be really careful about adding any items which excel crafted items. We want if there's going to be a rare chance to create a super awesome item, I think we want to give that to crafters. But without taking away the loot of dungeon mobs.
So many questions.
I know I'm completely lost now. Where are we at?
Let's
give away a
cruising,
key
so.
before I go back up.
All right, so yeah, go ahead, give out some keys. I'll keep reading questions.
So everyone,
yep. Go
no,
ahead.
sorry, go ahead.
No, you.
Just gonna say to everybody, if you want in on the key giveaway, you need to type giveaway with an exclamation mark first. I'll do another example, and I'll give away 2 keys.
Sweet. So Coinmac is asking, is the housing able to be placed in the wilderness, or are there areas designated for that? Yes, we have housing areas, but it's most of the map. So, yeah, it's just like UO in that sense. As far as stealing people's stuff, you can do that in our game if they're forgetful. So if they forget to lock their door or they forget to lock the chest that had their stuff in it, you can go in and take it. So be very diligent when you own a house that you don't forget to lock your stuff up. Are you hiring? Not right now, but we are always taking resumes. So don't hesitate to throw your resume into the pile. You want to answer the steal pickpocket question? I did the last stream.
The which? The pickpocket.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. You're not scrolled up.
Oh, I was
It
just
says,
going for things.
is there steal or pickpocket skills?
Okay. We have the code for these things. We're just being extremely cautious about implementing them because I think we all agree that we want players stealing from other players. We just need to be 110% certain that it's happening. I think we want to eradicate any incidents of it happening to a player in any kind of griefy way, which is hard because the skill itself is innately griefy. But it's not in right now. But I think we want it to be in. Do you want it to be in by Steam?
Yeah, we do, for sure.
Yeah, it will be in some capacity in Steam, and I think we don't want it to be gimmicky. We want players to actually be able to steal things from players, and it be a thing. But we're just making sure it's right. But
And you can steal from NPCs right now. I'll put that out there.
Yeah, that's a big difference from. I mean, I can't think of any other game which had pickpocketing apart from Miss and UO, but you can actually steal from NPCs. You can steal from NPC houses. You can steal from town. Like, you can actually steal from the inn. Like, you can steal a beer from the inn, and you have to try and escape.
All right. How long until the NDA is released for good? Honestly, this weekend seeing people play made me get the game. I feel like seeing it daily would bring more people. Also like to add this to my UO stream. Okay, because we are in active development, the NDA is in there for good reason. And so it's lifted for the weekend. I don't know if I mentioned that on the stream yet, but anybody who's playing this weekend, free trial or pledge, can share what they've learned, share what they've seen, take screenshots, take videos, post them, and stream. And with videos, as long as the video was recorded during the Open Alpha weekend, you can take your time, clean it up, polish it, and post it to your YouTube next week. I don't care. As long as you're only showing stuff that's in our current alpha. The reason we have the NDA is because there are things that we test and try that we may not want the greater internet to see. And so the NDA is mainly in place to just make sure that the stuff that we don't want people to know about stays within the group. So the NDA will definitely be lifted at Steam.
I was going to tell you to go for that portal. You had to catch Merlin getting spike trapped. That was hilarious.
What, just like the collision between the mobs and him and the players?
This is a really weird coincidence that, like, this dungeon's been built in this way. It's been out since alpha, so it's been out a couple of days, and yet we used to have quite a lot of traps. So we brought the traps down a little bit, and yet the only players who get killed by our traps are our most experienced players. Like every time.
This hallway right here is so mean.
It's hilarious when the mobs hit the players and push them back into the teleport.
Into the portal. We should maybe open this up a little bit or move the mobs back a little bit so you can get into the room.
Congrats, guys! Congrats. Who won the keys? Be Cool and K Crasty.
Congratulations, guys. If you don't get a key during this stream, you can still get a chance to get a key by signing up for our newsletter. Probably not this weekend because we got plenty of people for now, but over the course of next week and maybe next weekend, we'll be giving out keys to our newsletter. So if you sign up, I will put the link for our newsletter sign up in here. I mean, it's right on the home page, but we do have a dedicated newsletter page too. That would be this one. Yeah, if you sign up on there, you have a good chance of getting a key. I think we did talk about the crafted versus dropped items. If I tame a lizard, will it eventually turn into a dragon? No, not quite. We haven't quite gotten to that level of taming yet. That would be amazing. Any words on the graphics? I think we talked about how the graphics were
we talked about the graphics, yeah.
Is there a flinch/stagger in combat? Can I interrupt enemies? So spellcasting mobs do not get interrupted because all you need to do is throw 5 players at them and they'll never get a spell off. But player versus player combat, there is very much interruptions and stuff like that. And every spell has a crit effect. Like Fireball crit sets them on fire. Lightning crit will slow their move speed. So yeah, there's lots of debuffs and stuff, and there is a bar. You can't see it because I'm not actively playing, but there's a buff debuff bar that tells you what effects you're currently under. Okay. Any plans of adding plots in UO so you can design and plan rooms and walls? We want to do custom housing. It's not on the list for Steam because we don't feel it's critical. There's a lot of different housing layouts that you can choose for Steam. And so for now, we will not be doing it. But just like UO launched without custom housing and it came later. So I expect us to do the same.
For anyone asking, I'm sending you all messages with your keys with instructions as to how to redeem them.
Yeah, there's like a little PM button on the bottom corner of the Twitch window. Can you elaborate on the moddable aspects of Shards? Can we mod item appearances, locations, etc.? So modding is coming in 2 phases. We have the first phase of modding available now, which is everything server side is moddable. That's the rules, that's the spells, that's the skills, that's the drops, that's where the monsters spawn, that's the quests, the dialogues. Even the maps can be connected in different ways. Like you could take each of our world dungeons and put portals at the end of them that take you to the next one, and you could make a dungeon like 20 levels deep if you wanted to. How creative you get with the server admin stuff is completely up to you. It's basically like a very open environment for that sort of modding. So, and also our modders are very into sharing, and so if you're not a full scripter and you want to just try some things out, you can play around with server settings, maybe pick up some scripts from some of the other modders. You can play around. And so, yeah, it's a very open-ended system. Now, Phase 2, which is coming after we launch on Steam, is custom assets. So that's being able to make your own maps, make your own dungeons, make your own monsters, maybe even equipment, particle effects, and stuff like that. So that's Phase 2. That'll be after Steam.
Oh, we're up to the mirror room now, are we?
These guys are just chugging right along, man.
Oh, we're at the end.
Wow.
Merlin did something. I'm not sure what he did. I'm going to have to ask him later.
Oh, he just bypassed the whole room?
Well, I just got to the room, and it was just Merlin, just and a chest. What's the next question? If I play on a player-run shard, am I at the mercy of the shard owner to keep it running? Or do you have a guarantee? So he's talking about if he wants to play a PvE realm. Well, I should probably say here, like, I think the one thing that we're aiming for is kind of like if you were looking for a sandbox game and you thought, okay, I'm going to try EVE Online. I mean, EVE Online's not got a PvE or a PvP realm, and it's quite generally accepted that games of that kind of in terms of how it does PvP and PvE, it's not.
Crap. Hang on 1 second, Jeffrey. I messed up. We lost your audio. Hang on 1 second. I might have to reset the stream. I'll be right back, guys.